Jay with us.
Buscando el momento preciso, todo esto parece un hechizo. El destino así lo quiso y yo sigo indeciso. Quizás no me haga entender, pues en fin tú tienes el poder de decidir si alguna vez esto pueda suceder y no puedes.
Hello, my name is Juan Jose Estrada. My artist and producer name is JayP, and today I'm with one of the great, producers, Colombian producers I know. He is such a good person as well. He is going to give us some information. We're gonna document some of his experience. This is about learning, and we just want to learn more from people that got more experience than us. So I'm so happy for having him here. So without giving more introduction, El Genialista. Hello, bro. How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
That's great, man. Thank you for coming in today. As I said before, this is about learning. So I wanna first give some information about you, about your personal life as well, about your experience, your journey through the music industry and how you've been doing. So yeah, let's just start, bro. Why not? So right. I'm not right with your name. Is it John Jairo Perez?
John Jairo. Oh no, it's John. No, it's John Stephen Perez. Ah, John Stephen. Yeah. No, because obviously I thought that was a joke. No. Did you actually think it was Jairo? No, yeah, because I was looking for information and all I found was John Jairo Perez instead of John Stephen. Yeah. Me? Yeah, that's probably wrong on my internet. Yeah. Yeah, but that's fine. It's alright.
John Stephen Perez.
Yeah.
Okay. El Genialista.
That's right.
So, bro, where are you from?
I'm Colombian.
What part?
Cali.
Cali.
Yeah.
And have you been always living in the UK or?
I've been living in the UK since 2000 I got here, I think it was. Yeah, 2001. I was 10 years old when I moved here. So yeah.
But you lived some part in Colombia, like when?
Yeah. So I was born in Cali, Colombia. I was there until
10, and then
I came here.
Okay.
And I've been here ever since. So.
Oh, long time, man.
Yeah, about, I mean, what, 25 years or so?
25 years.
23 years.
Okay. So how old are you now?
So I'm about to turn 33 actually.
No.
This month. Next week.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow, bro. You don't look like it, man.
I know, man. That's good. I preserve myself.
That's good, bro. So when did your journey in the music start? Like how did you start?
So I think like many of us, I've been involved in music from an early age. When I was a kid, I was in we used to call it in Colombia chirimea, like a band, like folkloric band kind of thing.
Chirimea.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So I used to play the flute actually.
No.
yeah, I used to play the flute for quite a while when I was a kid, and a bit of the drums, but not the actual drum set. The tambora kind of like.
Like the cumbia, the one that we used to do.
So I had a bit of the percussion stuff as well that I learned through that time. But my main instrument was the flute back then. So I was involved in music. But when I came here, that's when all of that stopped until I was 14, 15, I think. That's when I picked up again. When, new technology came on and, I started experimenting with, these DAWs, and it caught my eye again, and then I started, getting into the music. During that time, I was really involved, really into hip-hop music.
Okay.
Right? And Latin hip-hop music. So even from that time when I was in the chirimea back in Colombia, I was listening to a lot of rap music, like guys that like Big Boy, back in the days, Big Boy, Bikosi. Like those were like my two main guys, and I used to mimic their flow and everything, and they inspired me to write. So from that age, I was really into the whole craft of hip hop, And yeah, so when I started experimenting with DAWs when I was here, that's when I really caught my eye again, and I started digging into it and just learning from there. So.
But the DAW thing was from like 14 to 15 years old, yeah?
Yeah. So around that age. Yeah, 14, 15, I think.
And you got like in a laptop, or how was it?
It was on my laptop. Yeah. It was the DAW was FL Studio, which to this day I still use. So
that's your main window.
Yeah, and that was my go-to at that time, and continue from there.
So basically, and then from taking from like the DAW since you were like 14.
Yeah.
Did you do any like courses or anything like that? Like, or how you?
Yeah.
Like what?
No, like it was just self-taught kind of thing. Because I started just playing around with it, and I was like, oh wow, I can actually put many sounds here. Like, you know what I mean? You don't have to go out and record the sound. I was like, oh, I can have a piano here, and I can have a guitar here, and I'm like, I can put it all together here. I was like, wow. That's when it really like, I just got absorbed into it and started digging into it and learning from there. So me doing it by myself, experimenting first, trying different DAWs, and then, you know, just getting better at it.
And like, do you get your equipment, or how was it like when you start just the laptop? Or?
Yeah, so I just had the laptop just making like the backing tracks. Then I got a mic, like this webcam mics, like, you know what I mean? And then just plug it in, and then I was like, oh wow, I can record here as well and put my voice.
Mics, no way.
yeah, them long ones there. It was like, so, and I used to put a beanie on top as a sort of pop shield. So I would just hold it. So the very humble beginnings. But yeah, just experimenting really, like just, you know, in my own time, like, you know, when you're that age, you have all the time in the world. And that's how I kind of learned my way through production.
Probably when you were 14, 15, you were still in secondary school.
That's right, yeah.
So, but do you experiment with friends at school as well, like getting people to your house? Or no?
Yeah, not necessarily from school, but people outside, people from the community, the Latin community in London. Because then I found, during that time, I found out that there was actually other people recording themselves and doing songs, and I was like, wow, what? Like, this is possible, you know what I mean? Like normally in that time, like you have this idea that you need a big studio and labels and all this stuff to get a song done. But then when I saw people that were in the community doing it, I was like, okay, well, I'm getting into it because I really like, you know, writing and rapping, and so that's how I got into that. So I did invite people from the community to record with me, and yeah.
So, because I've got in the UK around 2016, and you know, is a really good thing to ask you, because, you know, people like you were behind, you know, even a lot of people that when we came in the UK from the 2010 after that. So, like, how was the experience in the Latin community in terms of the music industry? Because obviously there's been a process that a lot of people, they don't know about. Yeah. Some people are like coming from Spain straight here, and they think the scene is now starting, and I don't think so. There's a history behind.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. Even before my time when I started, there was other groups before that. I think if I recall properly, during that time, it was like DGR, and I can't remember the other guys, but there was people before me that were already doing things like this. So yeah, no, it's not a new thing now. and I do agree, like, people that are now coming to London think that they are starting this movement now, but this has gone way back.
Yeah, because the other day I was in a live on Instagram, and DJ Gordo, he came into to the live, and he was a bit upset in terms of like, oh yeah, people is talking too much, but they don't know the process. Like, I've been doing this for a long time, like 20 something years, I think he said. Yeah. and the same as you said, like people already were doing it, and you know, hanging around. Guerrero the other day was talking to La Voz podcast about the same thing, like how they, you know, the perreo discos in close house and stuff like that. But it's so. What's your opinion in terms of like, you know, how it's been evolving? Like as you said, probably I don't know how they were doing in the last years, probably, like because you work with, for example, Ando and Mello, and you know they were doing really good music with you as well. You were singing as well. So can you talk about it as well, like the process of the evolution of it?
I think I would say that back then,
around like what year?
So this
more
was 2000 and let's say 2010.
Okay.
2009, 2010. No, even before that, 2007. Sorry, yeah. So 2007, that's when I was doing a lot of recording myself as well. And recording other people at Ando y Mello. That time, I would say that we were so new to this technology that we kind of started from scratch, right?
Okay.
Whereas now, what I see is that people that are just starting are starting at this level already because the technology is already there. So they're already getting the high quality, you know, good recordings, you know, good instrumentals, and all of this because it's already, you know, it's already at a level that you're like, okay, this can compete, right? So I think back then we had it a bit harder. So I have seen that evolution of like, wow, we went from a very low quality to now. If I was to show you like the recordings that I had back then, it was like, what the hell?
No way.
But people now, they start at this level already. You know what I mean? They already have a good mic, good interface, good everything. And it's just a matter of them being good as in, you know, their artistry, you know, as musicians being able to express properly, you know, good songwriting, good, you know, because we already have all the technology to make them sound as professional as possible. Not like before, back then it wasn't that easy to, at least for the home produce, what do you call it?
The home studios, home producers, so I'm gonna continue on the questions because I want you to hold that topic. In section 3 is what I want to talk about. Okay. In terms of like your thoughts in the industry in the UK, and you know it's good to have that as well. But let's continue to like your more like your origins in identity.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
So so continue from your journey, but so do you have any other profession before the music? I mean, like, obviously you said you studied in Colombia, you know, but like, do you went south, let's say, like, do you do anything else, like other kind of profession?
Other professions, yeah, of course. I mean, like, you know, we all need some way to sustain ourselves financially. So when I was studying, I was doing a bit of IT courses. And that route took me to doing a course in university. I graduated and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a multimedia course. Okay. Right. So it's quite diverse. You had programming, website stuff. You had some audio engineering as well. So very diverse. It wasn't just focused in one thing. So I did that. I graduated. But I was also working part-time as a bartender back then. What else? And then after I graduated, I continued doing the bartending work. Eventually became a manager in that, and that was my other profession outside the music. But I was still doing music on the side as my side business, let's say. So yeah.
And because obviously there are people that think that obviously because you're doing music, so some people ready or you're not prepared or you haven't studied or you don't get education enough or blah blah blah. But it's good that people know that you've gone through that process. Yeah. Because some people think that in university is kind of nowadays is like, no, you don't need uni. Like what would you need uni for? So do you think that the university, even if that wasn't entirely focus on music? As you say, you had some audio kind of module on it, but like, do you think that process of going to uni helped you to develop yourself in a way like that helps you today in the music?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it does serve as a foundation of really understanding how audio works, you know, and so I think it is essential. But nowadays, it's also not as needed. How can I put this? I think there's so many ways for you to get out there in the music industry. Again, this is due to technology, that you can establish yourself at a good level without needing to have some sort of, you know, degree or anything like that. It also, I guess, depends in the path that you're taking, right? If you're focusing more on engineering, for example, like sound engineering, I think, you know, courses like this are definitely essential, because you need to learn, you need to know how these things work, you know what I mean? You can't just be flicking things. You need to understand how audio works to be able to have it, you know, radio ready, or, you know, mix it or engineer it in a way that is going to sound professional, right? So you can't just, you could learn it online as well, you know, but you still need the practice, you know.
Yeah, to put hands-on and actually.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think it depends what path you're taking. If it's sound engineering, more technical stuff, I would definitely recommend, you know, going through courses and
because like I remember like one of the lectures on my uni said something I never forget. Like, when you start the university, you get to know yourself, like who you really are, who you really like, what are you willing to do, what you're able to do. So do you think like going through the process of university like help you to like get yourself together a little bit more, or like you were like, no,
you mean in life in general?
Or probably
okay.
yeah.
I think so, because when I completed the course, I still felt like I was just leaning more towards the music than the programming side of like programming and, you know, all this IT stuff. So it does make you realize, well, you know what, actually, that's what I feel like makes me, you know, happy and more content with my life is actually this path, right? You don't necessarily have to get to that point, you know, like for some of us, like myself, I think I could have maybe pinpointed that before I got myself in that depth, of universe. And maybe I would have, if I had a clearer vision, I would have probably done a more focused course in university with audio, right? And yeah, taking that path instead of something too diverse that I wouldn't know.
But anyway, it helps you because you understand a lot of about electronics.
Yeah. There was some modules on that, so it did help me understand, like, you know, how.
Because it's quite intuitive. Like from the way I know you, it's like you're quite intuitive in stuff. Yeah. Like for example, you know FL inside out.
Yeah.
And you know how to locate files, or how to locate plugins, and how to move these things there. You know, all that stuff. And it's quite important, I think, sometimes to know a little bit about IT.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, man. But it's a hands-on thing as well, right? You have to do it every day. With whatever you do, you have to do it every day.
Every day.
And I'm quite a curious guy, and even though, like, for example, these stuff here, I don't necessarily have it with me or have access to a studio like this, for example, but I'm always so curious, and I learn. You know, I watch again YouTube stuff and get me into that mindset of, okay, so that's how it works, because I understand the back end of it. So it's like, okay, that's what you do with that.
Okay. Interesting, no? Because like, you know, like from the way I know, is like you're quite prepared in terms of like you understand a lot of things. It's just incredible like how I can learn a lot from you, even though your path in uni wasn't that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the same like the guy I mentioned, the guy from Prosonic Audio, Carlos Lares, like he is the same. He never went to uni, but he's such a good sound engineer as well. And the same opinion as you, like you can learn a lot from the internet, but obviously you need to put hands-on and educate. It's like half and half, I think. Exactly. There's a balance in between educate yourself, and the other part is about practice and learn.
And it's the hours you invest in it as well. Because I've noticed that, you know, if I was to compare myself from when I started to now, like the way your ears develop during that time, because you're doing it so much, that you could immediately pinpoint, oh, that's not right, that doesn't sound right? And obviously in audio, that's the most important thing, knowing that there's something wrong with the frequencies or whatever, the balance of the mix. So it's a thing of investing hours as well, you know, being in front of these monitors and just
focusing on the frequencies and dynamics.
Exactly, yeah. So it's I guess practice every day. So like with anything else, you know.
Okay, let me get going to the next one. So, what does your music producer name mean? Like, why El Genialista?
Genialista, you know that's basically a made-up name, but it has a root in it because genial, as you know in Spanish, means like
cool. Genial or genial?
Yeah.
Genial, so, like that's cool. That's genial.
Yeah,
genial.
So
that's cool.
Genial. But it also has sort of like the genius part of it, right? Yeah. Genius, like, that guy's genial. He's kind of like a genius, right?
Smart, yeah.
So that then became genial because I used to make beats. So pista, genialista, you know what I mean? So someone that specializes in beat making, right? So a very genius in beat making, basically. That's how that came about.
So as a specialist in being smart, basically, something like that.
No, specialist being pista. So
in
the ending of that,
in beat making. Okay.
So it would be, it's like two words, genial, pista.
Okay.
Combined like
genialista.
Kind of thing, right? So that's how sort of it came about. It was just, we were throwing names around. I was in a session with, I think it was Mello actually, and we're looking for you were looking for a name. I was, oh yeah, I like Genial, I like this, and then he threw like Genialista, and we kind of like formed that word of like, oh, Genialista, like pista, Genialista and la pista. That's why you hear sometimes Genialista and la pista. So it's like it rhymes with it. But that's basically how that came to be, and I just kept it ever since.
No, it's good. It's good. Why not?
It was a sort of like way for me to separate myself from the artist, because as you know I was JayP. Also an artist. So I was JayP.
JayP.
It was just basically my initials, and then Genialista, the producer side.
Okay.
So
not John Hyder. Not John Hyder. No. Otherwise that would have been JJ. JayP. That's so funny, man. That's funny, man. That was I thought you actually put that in as an icebreaker or something. No. Because I know it's
because it depends on how you find the names. It's like, for example, the other day when I found out about the real name of Dooku's, I was like, no way, I can't believe it. Because the Dooku's real name is Ludwig Josue Alemesa.
Okay.
So I didn't know. I never thought like that was his name. You know, like I actually had to research, obviously in the credits, like when he published credits for like Sync on Netflix or stuff like that. So I was like, was his real name, and the credits like Ludwig. I was like, never thought that was his name.
I didn't know.
No, never. So you know, I found that on one of the credits on internet. It says John Hydo. I was like,
what, me?
You have to check on that. Yeah, you have to check on that. Like in the credits, it says El Genialista and it says your natural name is John Hydo, and I was like, John Hydo.
You need to show me that, because that can't be going around.
John Steve.
Oh, people start calling me Hydo.
Yeah, no, John Steven Perez. Okay. That's funny. Why do you decide to be more a producer and run your business than continuing with your artist career?
I think I've always liked the technical part of it. It always fascinated me, you know, recording and making it sound better. It's always been like it's kind of like taking a picture and then processing it and just bringing out all the colors and sounds. So that I've always liked that part. So it was always in me. Why I decided, I mean, I was a duo obviously before, JayP and Olimac. And I've also always liked writing and rapping. It got to a time where Olimac's, you know, he stopped making music.
Okay.
Obviously left the duo by itself, so it would have just been JayP, you know. And I felt like I was missing something, like, you know, I was missing my partner and I was like, you know, I don't know if I have the courage to be an artist and be out there and, by myself. So I kind of took a step back and I was like, you know, I'm actually good at the production side, so I'm going to focus on this and help artists develop and, you know, yeah. That's why I focused on being more of a producer.
Yeah, because I was looking at some of your tracks, and as an artist, and it's like, oh yeah, you had that. And I was watching some of your videos on your YouTube channel about like how you used to work on Pro Tools and like how you used to just rap or just sing. So it's like, as you said, probably, you know, things happen for a reason. I always believe that and so like it's a journey. Probably you just learn how to produce yourself, record yourself, and that's how you call it your attention. Like, I probably can focus my knowledge and apply it to someone else.
It helped a great deal, like being an artist first, as well as your own engineer. It helps a lot. Because I can identify how the projection of, you know, what an artist should have. When I'm sitting on the desk and recording people, I'm like, I can tell that they're not doing it exactly how, you know, it should come out. So it helps a lot to be an artist first and then becoming a producer. You know, it's kind of like a footballer becoming a manager, for example.
But like, do you have plans like in releasing music as an artist anymore, or not? Like, you just stop it fully?
You know what? I always get the urge of doing it. I still do, just because I like making songs. You know? And I think, and I've got really great ideas for it. So I've got quite a lot stored that I think the world should hear as well. So I think one day I'll probably, you know, just be like, okay, let me just focus on doing me and you know, release it. So it is in the back of my mind. And
because, you know, like sometimes some people and artists think that because you haven't released that music, it sounds old or is outdated and it's not like in today's trends. And like, what's your thought about it? Like, because, you know, people sometimes they focusing on making TikTok or fast food music, as I call it, fast food music. And they realize that I've got this old track saved on my drive, and it's like they don't release it because it's outdated. Sometimes it's not. It's like
it's not. I think if that was the case, then like, you know, like stuff like we like, especially in this era now, we're hearing a lot of the 80s sounds, right? They're kind of bringing that back as well, right?
Yeah.
So it always sort of cycles through. Like I think every 20 years. Every 2 decades, there's always like, you know, old sounds come back into play, and that's how trends work in a way, you know. So I don't think that you know, just because you've done a piece of music, you know, 5-10 years ago, it's gonna go out of date. You could make some adjustments, but I think it's gonna be new. It's gonna be fresh for people hearing it now. So, yeah, it's only in your mind because you know that you've recorded it back then. You're like, that's. But for people, you'd be like, oh, we don't hear this sound that often now. So it's like, oh yeah, come bring it back.
Yeah, because the other day I was having a listening to your Spotify's playlist of JayP and Olimac, and I was like, this sounds way 2000s.
Yeah,
like, is that you have that old sound, and it's good. It actually is. It's like when you listen to Looney Tunes, the producers is like, oh yeah, that's the old reggaeton sound.
Yeah.
Nelly, you know. musicólogo, you know, that kind of stuff is like the old school.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, you can put times that like you can hear that there's sounds from that time.
but
You're
it's
right.
good. It
But-
doesn't. Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, I mean, that's where I guess new sounds are born basically. Because you have that sound. If you have a song from that time, and you're gonna bring it to this era now, then you're like, okay, it still has that sound, but I can import some of the new, you know, the new sounds that we hear. So it's like it makes a nice fusion. So yeah.
Yeah, why not, man? You should release it like.
Yeah.
Like
definitely.
for example, the track "No Puede Ser." That's top, man. It's so good.
Yeah, I think I'm quite proud of that production. Probably, yeah, one of
It's one of the best, man. Like it sounds so good. It's
Yeah.
really good. So what else? Okay, so what are the musical genres that you know the most when composing and producing?
definitely reggaeton, hip hop, more of the urban, you know, genres. I would say so reggaeton, hip hop, R&B. I like.
And so, what type of music would you like to learn more about then?
You know what? I'm quite interested, and I've been wanting to really dive in to like classical and like jazz.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just so complex that I feel like it will give me like an extra power for productions. That I would say is one, like those two, probably jazz and classical. If anything, like in some of my productions, I always sort of implement a lot of classical stuff, like in like orchestral stuff in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I lean towards that a little bit.
Because it's like the thing about jazz is like they always jamming around and improvising.
Yeah.
And it's for some reason every like musician knows the key.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason it's like they just start jamming and they just join, and you don't have to tell them all the time, oh, this is the key. No, they just
it's just
straight away.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like if you know that, you know it all kind of thing. It covers everything.
Everything.
So those two I would say I would like to explore more and probably dive into.
Interesting, man. Jazz.
Yeah.
Or classical.
Because you know what, that also leads to like another genre that I really like, salsa.
Salsa.
Do you know what I mean? So salsa has a lot of that stuff, you know, jazz, blues, that, you know, incorporated. So
yeah.
it's-
And even hip hop, like as far as I know,
exactly,
it comes
yeah.
from the States, the New York, I think.
Yeah.
Like in the Bronx, I
Yeah.
think, was where people, you know, from the hip hop, and it started to.
Yeah, sampling stuff from back then. So exactly, like I think it originates from, you know, classical and jazz
Classical
and all
and
that.
jazz
So
and stuff.
it's like it's good to have that foundation, I think. So I'll be looking into that and maybe getting into courses where I can expand on learning the back
musicality
end
and
of-
stuff. You know, because there are a lot of pubs and clubs in London that they actually just is jamming. They're like, you can go and visit and
Yeah.
they just jamming.
Like
and just,
open mic stuff kind of thing. Okay.
yeah, like do you play like any instrument like that you specialize in?
I focus more on the keyboard now.
Okay.
So that's why I used to make my productions. So I've developed my skills in mainly keyboard. Been wanting to learn guitar a lot, but man, the patience that you need to pick up it, I don't know. So I've stuck to keyboard for now.
And like, do you want to learn another one apart from the guitar, like, or like drums? Do you play any percussion and stuff?
Drums will be probably after the guitar will be one to learn.
Like proper drums?
Yeah, definitely.
Like some rock? or...
Yeah, man, the coordination there, it's insane. So it helps a lot.
To develop in the productions, yeah, definitely. So how would you describe your music? Like, what's your audience target? Like when producing for other people to like your own music, like how do you find that sound, the El Genialista sound?
I think just like with any musician, we are the product of all of our past experience. Well, yeah, experiences, but also what we listen to, I think, and what really tickles your ear, right? So I think I tend to, like my sounds quite big and thick kind of thing.
Okay.
And so a lot of producers that have influenced my sound, I would say, like Dr. Dre, Pharrell, Timbaland, and from the Latin scene, Tiny was one that really wowed me back in the 2008 or something like that. When I heard Tiny in the Latin scene, I was like, wow, there's something different about this guy. And it was so I always aim for those sort of, and fuse it in my own way, how I interpret it. So yeah, is that?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. No, because obviously there are other people that they define their sound more like contemporary, experimental, but you focus a lot on the urban. So you, as you say, it's thick, and fat. And that's true.
That's
literally
what I aim for. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that.
Yeah, because of the productions I've heard from other artists, they use produce and engineer them, and it's it sounds thick. It's not loud. It's more thick.
Yeah.
And it feels loud, but it's not loud. It's just it's just fat.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just that. So you already said that your favorite though is the FL Studio, but there is this discussion in the industry about that every dot sounds different. The result you get from every dot is different. I don't know. What do you think? Because people use it. One dot for tracking, another dot for mixing and mastering. So I don't know. What's your?
You know what? I don't actually believe that.
Okay.
I don't believe that every dot gives you a sound.
Okay.
I think, from my point of view, every dot has a transparent sound, and it's just what you add on top that makes it there.
Okay.
So again. So if a door, for example, FL Studio, people describe that it has a sound, but I think with the default settings of FL Studio, it comes with a limiter on it, on the master. So already, people that are just starting and don't know that, there's a limiter here and that's what the limiter does, they're like, oh yeah, but in FL Studio it just sounds punchier. It sounds, of course, because you've got a limiter that's raising all, the level.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So, but they don't check the default setting. So that's when the confusion comes. So I think if you was to strip it all and have nothing on it, you will still get the same recording. And I think I think it's a silly argument, but some people swear by it.
No, yeah, because as you mentioned, some people don't check the default settings, and when they make tutorials for YouTube and that stuff, and I don't know why, but it feels like that. When someone is just making a beat on FL without even mixing it, they just drop in sounds and reverb and whatever, but it sounds already good. It sounds punchy, big.
Yeah.
And for some reason, when you just start doing stuff on Logic, for example, it sounds more like songwriting stuff, or in Ableton, it's more like EDM music, or it sounds more contemporary. I don't know. Sometimes it's just weird. It feels different. As you said, probably for you it's transparent. I don't know. Yeah, it's just different approaches, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's definitely what you add after that makes it. But again, nowadays we all have the same plugins and that, so it's the sound that you bring to it, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I don't think that they will have a difference.
But do you use the same DAW for everything then? Mixing, mastering, producing?
I do, yeah. So yeah, FL Studio, I'm still I track on it, mixing it, mastering it, do my productions there. So yeah, everything in one.
And have you tried any other DAW, or would you like to learn another DAW? Or?
Yeah, I've tried many DAWs, man. When you're starting, you're sort of in this world of so many options that you're okay, let me try this one, and everything's new, and you're it's a new toy every day kind of thing. So I did, I went through the whole lot you know, FL Studio was the one I started with. I tried Reason, which is not talked about much lately, but I tried Reason, I tried Nuendo, I tried Cubase, I tried Sonar, I tried Studio One recently, Ableton, Pro Tools. I used to actually use Pro Tools quite a lot for my vocal tracking. So I'll do my production in FL Studio, tracking Pro Tools. So yeah, I've kind of gone through quite a lot. But I think, again, I always tell people, is what you feel comfortable with as well. You know, what gets the faster results, you know. And for me, it's been FL Studio.
Ever since, you don't change it. So let's get into section 2. So this is more about your professional techniques when working with artists and record labels, if you have, I don't know, and your perspective as a producer. So the first question about that is, what are the most important factors to have present when starting to work with an artist?
Important factors of the artist?
Or like things to consider when you're just gonna start working with an artist.
Okay. So if an artist was to approach me, I first obviously ask for the music. Let me hear what you're, you know, for me to get familiar with their sound.
Okay.
Then I make a personal judgment. And I think that's important because you're not a producer for everyone, right?
Oh, okay.
So you can be, but I think for you to get the best results, you have to really like what you're working on. So I always ask for music first, and so that's one factor. Let me hear your music, see if it aligns with me. If I like what it sounds, then I move on to checking where the artist is heading. Do you know what I mean? Is it an artist that's just doing this just for fun, you know, or is it an artist that's focused on building a career in it, right? I think that's another important factor that I look into. Just because there's no point me wasting my time, you know, with someone that's not really going to take it serious. Even if they're very talented, I think the way they manage themselves as an artist is quite important for you to then make an assessment and say, okay, it's worth me
working with them
and putting my energy into it, because at the end of the day, it's your time as well. So those two factors, and then uniqueness, how unique this artist sounds. Is it quite a generic artist? Like, oh yeah, he or she sings nice, but it's very common, you know what I mean? Does the voice have some kind of characteristics that's like stands out from the crowd? I think that's
so even though, like, obviously, when, let's say if you are now running a business and it's like some people just want to book you in for like producing, and as you say, you find that those factors aren't applying to this kind of artists or bands. So will you still work with them because it's a business, or
it depends on the commitment you want to make with the artist. So if you're just providing a service in terms of I need a studio, I need you to engineer this and record this, of course, you know what I mean, you're just getting hired for that purpose. You just want to, you know, when it comes to like, I'm looking for a producer and I want to, you know, work long term with someone that understands my sound and blah blah blah, then I look into those factors. If someone just wants to, you know, record in that, there is one thing, actually, one criteria that I do assess, even if it's just a service that I provide, and it's, again, I ask for the music just to hear how good of a singer or rapper, whatever it is.
Like the range, like the range.
Knowing exactly if the guy has some experience in recording and that. Because again, it's I don't want to be stuck trying to teach someone you need to do it louder. You know what I mean? You need to do it. I would like to skip that barrier, you know, and start at a level that it's like, okay, I can guide them and go project your voice in this way and so on and so on. If it's, you know, if I'm hearing, for example, a very terrible singer and I can tell that it's been fixed, you know, it's been like auto-tuned to the max, for example, and it's like, oh wow, like I can imagine that the recording is going to be very bad and I'm going to have to really, you know,
melodyne all the way to.
All the way to, and I think, you know, for me personally, I don't like, engaging in those kind of sessions.
So basically the advice that you would give is like, just practice, be ready before like actually approaching me, like have some actual knowledge of singing or
definitely,
you know,
have a you know, a decent level that we can work with, right? Because then it will just get better from there, right? But if you're really like, you know, just starting I think I would recommend that person, if they're approaching me, to really practice on their own and come back. Like if they really want to work with me, then come back, you know, in a few months or whatever, where they have developed the confidence and, you know, way of recording it before engaging into actual
studio. Okay. So how do you know when an artist is following the right or wrong direction musically, and that they're not trying to force themselves through a musical genre that does not fit with their identity, tonality, or performance?
That's an interesting question, and the way I identify that, it's I think for me it's all about the feeling that the artist is. So I've had you know, an artist that, for example, give an example, they normally do romantic music, and they wanted to do a dembow, for example, or jump on a dembow. We know that dembow, it's very energetic and very snappy, and you know, the confidence that you need to have, it needs to be up there, right? It's like you have to be that character. So for a person that does romantic music and doesn't have that energy, it's more soft, you know, singing, doing that, it's like, no, like it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work.
You know what I mean? Because I always tell the artists, like, it has to be, you have to project, you know, the person that you are, or that or the character that you're trying to portray through the mic. You know what I mean? If you, some people are able to do that. You know, I have this dynamic, like, where they can just go from very soft romantic to like, wow, like, you know, very energetic, and that's great. But if I hear that an artist is trying to hop on, you know, piece of music that's like, it does not align with their style, and like, I'll let them know.
You will let them know. It's like you will guide them. Okay.
Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because I know some other people that they're like, no, let them flow, let them do their thing, and you know, if they find that that's the wrong path, that's because they went through the process, and not because probably the producer engaged and say no. Because it's a different point of view, like what you do. I mean, for me, it's like if I'm an artist just beginning to, like, in this world of recording, probably I had some knowledge of music, singing covers and stuff like that. And if I get into a studio, and probably the music that influenced me to the certain point that today that I want to make music, and if I get to the studio and it's like, and the producer knows that, no, that's not for you, it's good. Like, sometimes they guide you and tell you that's not for you. But it's not because of your personal preference, but because you know it's not. It's not for the wellness of his career, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. And I think you there are pointers that you can identify, I think, and it's obviously talking to the artist and knowing their background, knowing what inspires them. You know, that's another question I ask. Oh, like what kind of music, you know, are you into, and what are you trying to aim? Because one way or another, the artist would have this sort of feeling or a mood that they tend to lean towards, and I think that's where their best work comes out, because they're not trying to be something else. You know, they're not trying to be a Dumbo artist, for example, when they're really just like being romantic. You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's probably one of the pointers too.
Thank you. It does really actually answer the question. So, have you ever had to reject a project?
Yes.
And what were the reasons?
I think we touched a little bit on that, and based on the factors that I gave earlier, I've had to reject because some music just doesn't align with me.
Okay.
I don't really see how I can add to that. I recently had to reject a project from an artist, and she's a nice singer. She has a good voice, but the music that she was doing was more. What would you call that? It was like kind of like Carlos Vives sort of music.
Okay. So it's more like vallenato.
Yeah, not so much vallenato, but like kind of like on that side.
Commercial, folkloric.
Yeah.
Influenced.
Yeah, exactly. And even though I can appreciate the music and hear it and be like, okay, I could hear this. And me personally, I don't see how I can add to it. So there's no point of me, taking on.
Just because of the money, or just because of the...
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
So sometimes, as you said, probably you have to be professional all the time about that stuff. Like, okay, is the money or is me as a because that's your name that is gonna be on that track.
Exactly.
So yeah, absolutely. So what is? This is the question I wanted to ask you always. Like, what is your philosophy of work as a producer?
I was gonna touch because you mentioned something about that someone else said, "Oh, just let them be," right? Mm-hmm. I do agree with that, and I think I would say that that's a bit of my philosophy. You have to. Well, my approach is letting the artist be themselves. I think it's a key thing.
So it's like you have to let them be to a certain point where.
Yeah. So basically, if an artist comes and they have this vision, my job is to extract that vision and make it bigger, as as they are seeing it, right? So to a certain degree, I have to let them be. Do you know what I mean? And just let them express what they want to express, and then me just guiding them through that to make it sound bigger than what it is, right? So I think I would say that that's my let them be, and be like the vessel where they can, hop on your vessel and take them to where they need to be, to their destination. Right?
Do you also, like, in the philosophy of work, like, for example, me personally, I'm quite picky with the productions. It's like, because as I said, probably there are people that they think because you look at yourself in the mirror too much, there are things that are not gonna like about yourself, and at the end of the day, it's like you're not gonna wear this because you just look at it too much in detail. So like, I'm the type of person, like, I'm too picky, but like I get to the point where I see a production is like, no, this, I feel this is ready, because if I keep going, this is never gonna end. So that's are you minimalistic person, or do you like to be really picky in detail?
I think we all are, as creatives, we're all really picky, and we always want to tweak, and we always want to adjust and be like, okay, no. But I think I've learned to set myself a limit where I can be like, okay, I hear it, I do it, and then I compare it, obviously, to it, what's sounding out there. Is it good? Okay, boom, let's move on. Because I think you learn more from that than being stuck in it for forever.
So when it's ready, like how do you know when a track is ready? Like even in mixing or even in production side as well?
I do a lot of referencing.
Okay.
So I reference with, obviously, any track that's on the sort of same line. So if it's a reggaeton, I will compare it to, reggaeton that's very popular now, or something that's, and I would just do a quick A and B sort of. Well, okay, does that sort of match the level, and does it sound good enough to? Then yeah, that's how I sort of, that's my approach in moving on.
Okay. So, but do you pre-plan your sessions and projects, or do you approach every session differently, and why?
Sessions are different, obviously. If I can pre-plan, I will, and that normally happens when for example, if an artist has sent me some vocals, for example, having the beat ready, for example, that's part of my pre-planning, having that ready for them prior to the session. But then there's times where we do it right there in the studio, right? Because it just flows like that. They come with the idea, okay, I've got this, blah, 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 let's put this, just make some quick drums and that, and then we just start building from there. So yeah, I mean, it varies from artist to artist. Some artists are not really able to do that, like doing it sort of on the spot. They like to have something that they can write on back home or something, and then, yeah.
So it depends, it really depends.
Depends on the artist.
Have you had the chance to like work with a band or something like where it's like quite different from like just backing vocals or?
No, you know what? Actually, no, I have not had that experience of working with a big band. Yeah. Like,
would you like or?
Yeah, that definitely will be a good experience to
yeah, because I don't know, like some people comment that obviously bands are more like ready to go because they rehearse, they are like a whole thing, production together already.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like just they coming in and probably the pre-plan would be like how many mics I'm gonna need.
Exactly.
And how many channels I'm gonna need. Probably not like a 2-channel interface.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to hire something else. So.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. If I was to do a session like that, of course, like, I will inquire, okay, how many musicians are coming in, obviously, you got a drum set, how many overheads you need to set up, or, was it drum mics and whatnot. So yeah.
Do you think having a closer connection with an artist outside your workplace creates a more personal and concrete workflow when understanding new ideas or projects?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, if I could recommend anything, it's getting to know the person more.
Okay.
Because that provides a sort of comfort zone for them, right? Rather than, if someone comes in and then you're like, hey, go, record. It's kind of like, this person's going to feel like, I don't know if it's going to like this, it's just not really a nice, and I think, when it comes to music, you need to feel good in the environment, and I always try to create that anyway, even when meeting with new people. I know, obviously, sometimes you don't have the time to bond with this person, and then you have to get things done quicker. So I guess it becomes a skill to being able to provide that comfort when they come to your studio, and make them feel welcome, make them feel comfortable, make them feel like they can just sing, and even if the voice cracks and it's gonna be fine, you know what I mean? Because some artists have that fear of like, oh, I don't wanna, sing bad. So it's fine, you know what I mean? So I think creating that very safe environment for them, it's probably a good skill to have, and you know, it's a people's thing, right? Like when you're a producer, you have to deal with so many people that you have to sort of blend in with them and make them feel like they're at home. So that they can deliver the best
performance for
they
the
can.
recording.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
But definitely, if you do have the time to bond with this person prior to your sessions and, you know, getting to know each other, oh, you like this, or, you know, like that, whatever, it helps a lot. It helps a lot because you get in the studio comfortable with each other. Yeah.
Okay. So what is the best way to develop an artist from scratch when they are beginning to discover a musical identity, a sound signature, or that uniqueness that separates them from everybody else?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So the best way to develop an artist from scratch?
Yeah, from scratch. Like, let's say they know probably what they want to do, they have an idea, they have the music, but like, let's say you get to a point where like you need, as you said, you need to add your own production skills, like your own sound, to get them to sound different from everybody else, even if that's not even reggaeton or trap or R&B, like whatever. Like you know how to use this software, you know how to do this, but like you get to the point where it's like, no, this is not the right mic. I should probably apply another mic technique for this artist, or I don't know, synth sounds or sampling is not the right thing for them. Like I should do something else, or live instrumentation. I don't know, like different to development from the scratch. Yeah,
that's it's funny because I mean, if I think about it, like I've always sort of worked with people from scratch.
Okay.
But my approach has always been just been creating music, and slowly but surely you start realizing what the range is, you know, like obviously the vocal range I'm talking about, what sounds they tend to like, and what, like the compromise that you both have as well. So like you may like, I don't know, more guitars, for example, and I may not like more guitars, but then we find that this sound is sort of like a guitar, but it's not. Maybe it's a plucky sound. Then we start thinking, okay, well, actually, he really enjoys that, and we can come to the middle. So it's always been that. I think with me, like when I've started with new artists from scratch, let's say, just creating music and really testing out the waters.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So and really shaping it to a way that it's just applying, I guess, you know, if we get more technical, like effects that will complement their voice. Do you know what I mean? So maybe with this artist, I will do more layers, for example, in the vocal recording. So I will do more, you know, maybe squeaky voices, and then we've got some really low ones that just, as a stack, just makes this new sound to him. Do you know what I mean? So experimenting, really, like that's always been our approach. With new art.
Because like, let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, Jandel.
Yeah.
Like
that's a good example.
Like Wisin y Yandel. Like Jandel, like when you listen to him in like live concerts, it just sounds weird to hear him like in a cappella. And then when you're trying to listen to his vocals in the actual production, is like this choir can fool sound.
Yeah, because it's such a stack of layers of vocals that makes that sound, right?
That's his sound. That no one else sounds like him because of that. And Wisin is the opposite. It's like
it's just the voice and aggression in there. Yeah,
and the aggression on that.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, I think another example is Lennox.
Oh yeah, Lennox.
You know, so, you know, his vocal production is, you know, I mean, he already has that big voice anyway, but on top of that, they add even thicker layers.
It's like a flanger, like kind of thin.
Exactly. Yeah. I think, for me, it's always been that. It's just an experimentation process.
Okay.
Until we find that you sound like no one can copy that.
Copy that.
And you sound unique.
But do you think, like, because this is important for people to know, like, obviously when you hire in this kind of studios, and sometimes you just hire it per hour, you know, that sometimes there is this limitation where it's like people, they just want to come and record the lead vocal in half an hour, then layers in another 15 minutes, and that's that because it's consuming. So, like, what's your recommendation for other people when they kind of get into these sessions? Do you think 2 hours is enough, or like 8 hours sessions, or I don't know, it depends.
Minimum 2 hours, I think. In my studio, I always say, you know, it needs to be a minimum 2 hours. And normally that over spills to like 3 hours and 4 hours, but like 2 hours, depending on the artist as well. Some artists are really quick and they can do that in 1 hour. If they already have things and, you know, they already got it in their mind, they know exactly how they're gonna lay down the verse, you know, the layers or whatever. Some artists are quite skilled like that. So, but minimum 2 hours, I think.
Okay. It's like a standard kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so, man.
Okay.
On average, yeah.
Have you encountered scenarios where you were requested to produce, to mix, or to record a song from all the musical genres that you did not know anything about?
Yes. I've always been quite daring in that case.
Okay.
So when it comes to something like that, I take it on board, you know, because it just gives me that there's a new palette for me to learn from, and obviously, as you know, we approach every mix differently, right? And depending on the genre, you're like, okay, well, actually, they don't have the snares this loud, you know, as opposed to, I don't know, maybe a hip hop track or something, you know. So then you start thinking, okay, well, I can't apply the same settings. It's like how do they shape it? So what I normally do, I will take on the project, and I will just immerse myself in that music for a good couple days or so, you know, like, or even the whole week. I will listen to that kind of music and how they place things in the mix, so that I can become familiar with, and then I will do my own take into that, and yeah.
Okay, so the next one is, which are your methods to identify what process to take with new artists? Like, let's say, as you said, probably you prepare your sessions and it's like, okay, I want to hear the music, I want to hear the beat, or and then, like, how do you approach a different process? Like, how do I say it? Like the methods, should I say, let's say I'll come first to the studio, see how it goes, first impression, or it's like, no, rehearse it until you get it done and then you can record, or I don't know, how do you, like, different methods?
Is that what, to get the best take? Is that what you mean, or like?
Like to get like a methodology of work with different artists.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Some artists, as you said, probably they come and you know, because you already know them, okay, I know probably in an hour it's gonna get done.
Yeah.
But some people that struggled a lot, or they just quite picky with the takes. I don't know, how do you approach the different methods that, like, you have to pre-plan it on your session, or you just discuss it, or because I don't know how is your method of work in terms of like projects. Let's say we arrange a song, let's make a song, let's make a production. Then do you arrange like a beat, like a kind of bundle or like a pack where people can say, okay, let's record this in 8 hours, or I've got 8 hours with a Genialista, like today 2 hours, tomorrow 2 hours. I don't know how is that?
Okay. When it comes to that, I do offer a, let's call it a bundle, you know, where you'll get 6 hours of recording, for example, and you know, I will include, you know, the mix and master and the instrumental as well in the whole project itself. So what we will do is we'll do a session of like the main lead, for example.
Okay.
Right, make sure that we got what we wanted there. And then I'll move on to maybe the production, beef up the production, because that would then give them like new ideas with the new sounds, and okay, then we start adding the layers of the vocal, for example, harmonies, whatnot, and then finally we'll just get together and do any additional production stuff or vocal production, and then I finalize it by mixing it and mastering it.
Okay. What's your kind of philosophy in terms of that when you make a production and you are really into that production process and mixing all the time, do you feel like there is this kind of boundary in terms of like, okay, the mastering is a different stage, or you think of it like is a contemporary process of like, no, I can master it?
No, it's definitely it's a different it's a different approach. You can't approach mastering as you approach mixing.
Okay.
Because you're dealing with the stereo file basically when you're mastering. Right? So you're dealing with the whole thing as a whole. With mixing, obviously, you're dealing with more individual stems and stuff. So you will do broader strokes, for example, on a master than you would do in mixing. In mixing, you're a bit more surgical, right? So the mindset is different. So I will focus on production and probably do mixing in line with the production, right? But not too much. Just once I'm done with the production, then I can then focus on making those sounds sound clear enough and better. Then obviously, then I'll finish the mix and then I'll then export and move on to a different mindset for mastering, right? And normally I'll let that rest. If I have a mix and I think, okay, that mix sounds pretty ready, I'll let it rest and then I'll come back to it maybe 3 days after or something. Because then I will hear it as a song as a whole, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Not as like, okay, I'm doing production, I'm doing tweaking here and there. But more I'm hearing just as a whole, like, oh, that's what I'm given. Okay, but that needs a bit more brightness. I mean, it's a bit too boxy, maybe I need to cut here, but then I'll treat it as a whole thing, right?
Okay.
That's my approach, really.
You just stereophile and then that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So when this is amazing. Yeah. So when tracking artists, what is your methodology to achieve the best results, and how do you know that that take is the take?
Okay. That one, I love doing a lot of comping. I think it's probably nowadays the best way. Now that we have the technology to do as well.
Okay.
So I like to get the artists in the comfortable level where they can do that take over and over again, and then we'll analyze all the takes, cut the best bits from it, and it's sort of like I don't know if you know, it's like a Billie Eilish approach. She does that a lot. She does a lot of comping, and she's a great singer, but there's always little details in every take that you're like, oh, I like the way that word came out there, or the way I expressed that word there, or I don't know, that little bend in my, in the note was better here. So it's like you start really getting the best of every little bit or every moment in the recording. So that's how I normally approach it. I feel like it's more of a waste of time just deleting and okay, do it again, deleting, do it again. Do you know what I mean? It's more like, okay, let's do one take, boom, 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 and let's do another one, do another one, do another one. You know what I mean? And that process gets the artists even more confident every time they do it, because they start memorizing it even more, and then it just starts coming out naturally, and eventually you start thinking, okay, now that expression or whatever you need from the artist is coming, because they're so comfortable with that verse or chorus, whatever.
Because I don't remember the article where I read this, but it says that after the fourth take, that's not the take. Like after the fourth take, the artist is not gonna give their best performance. I don't know if that's completely true or not. I don't know. Like how do you know, like after how many repetitions it's like no.
That's interesting, because I actually find that, I mean, obviously to a certain extent, it can get boring for the eyes and frustrating for the eyes if they're doing so many takes. I was like, oh my god, I can't take it. But that's if they're not getting the, I don't know, let's say the right diction on a word, for example, like, you know, they can't pronounce it properly, or because that starts getting frustrating. But if you know the verse and you're just doing it to make sure that you're getting a solid take, I found that it gets better as they practice it more and more. You know what I mean? Because it's sort of like a practice session in a way, because you're running for it, and it's like, okay, no, that part I didn't do it, okay. But you start building this memory of like, okay, that's where I fucked. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's where I messed up. And then you're like, okay, you start correcting it as you're redoing it. So, but you also have to assess, because there's been sessions as well where we've done that, and the artist feels like, I'm getting frustrated. So we're like, okay, cool, let's leave that one, and then, you know, we'll move on to another section of the song. So that you can forget that one and come back fresh to it. So yeah, you have to read the artist and read the situation.
So do you think that approaching like tracking in as you said, some people, let's say they struggle a lot with, I don't know, singing the rapping part of the song. So would you in that case record different parts of the song? You know, let's just start recording the chorus instead of the first verse. Like, would you do that? Or
yeah, definitely. I will ask to hear the whole song first. So like what's the verse? Okay, and what's the chorus? So I hear if they are maybe using more energy in the verse, using more energy in the chorus. Maybe they're going on a higher note in the verse. I don't know. So I like to not wear out their voice in very early in the session, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So I'll probably start with maybe the hardest part, or the most important part, perhaps, so that the rest, and then it's like you already done the hardest part, so you're gonna get the verse or the bridge, whatever, easier.
Okay. Should the artist know some basic technical language to at least being able to communicate ideas more effectively to the producer or sound engineer?
Yes, most definitely. That helps a lot. It helps a lot. So I found that, you know, some artists have no idea how to describe that frequency that they hear, and it's like, oh, this is, I don't know, they use something else that you as a producer, like we know, for example, you know, that sounds boxy, or that sounds warm, or that sounds, I don't know, bright, whatever. But we know exactly when we use those words, like what region of the frequency spectrum is, you know, we're referring to. But obviously, if the artist doesn't know how to express that, it can lead to miscommunication, and then you're like, but that's not what I'm hearing. You know, I'm hearing that. I mean, if you're telling me that the brights are, but for them the brights are, I don't know, they'll use, let's say, honky, it's sort of like a honky sound, but they're referring to honky as maybe the low, the low, then it's like, well, that's not really honky. Honky is more on a high mids. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
So I think it does help a lot if they can learn this jargon that we use. so
that's true.
So that we match. It was like, okay, yeah, now that's you know, the high mids. Even if it's just more of a, doesn't have to be these words, but it can be more technical and be like, oh no, the high mids are a bit too harsh, and so you're like, okay. I didn't get that. Okay, let me hear it again. You know what I mean? So it makes the process smoother. So
Yeah.
yes, I think it's
Yeah, probably not to the level that they have to tell you, just put a notch here, or a bell, blah, blah,
but you
blah,
know
high shoulder.
where to focus.
But because the other day that happened to me as well, when I was mixing a drill track, and one of the artists just said, I think it's missing more boom boom.
Yeah, so they
It's
use
like,
words that you're like...
Yeah, it's like, it's missing boom boom. And I was like, what's boom boom? And what I realized it was like kick. I was like, oh, probably it's the kick that he's talking about because it's drill. Probably the kick. He's missing more boom boom. And I was like, probably it's the kick, it's punch, what she's talking about.
Okay.
And then it wasn't the kick at all. It had to be a lot with just the bass. She wanted more bass. That's it.
Right, okay.
But I understood boom boom as the kick.
Yeah.
Like that is missing more boom boom. I was like, probably it's punch. But it's not punch. It's actually...
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, you're right. I had a recent experience like that as well. They were saying that the vocals sound muffled, and you know if we muffled, I understand that as the high frequency is being taken off
like this.
and like that. Yeah. So you're taking away the high frequency, so that's muffled, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, muffled? I'm like, this vocal is quite bright. I mean, I was like, I did not understand. So you do have to sort of, you know, talk to them and like, what do you mean by muffled, and find a new language that you can understand. But yeah, it helps a lot if the artist knows
This kind of
little terms.
Basic terms, yeah. How likely do you suggest artists to learn about recording themselves to create demos? Or at least other purposes or suggestions that you might advise?
Definitely, I always advise that. It's a thing that you don't want to be in a session stuck telling them how close to the mic, you know, you need to be, or you know, how far or whatever. It just should be a thing of like, okay, you already know because you record yourself. So I would definitely advise if the artist knows how to record themselves, then our job as a producer would then just be making sure that take is great, that the expression comes out, and we're not really worried about, overlooking our shoulder and seeing like if they're going too close or not. And it's like, okay, they have good mic control, good distance, and they're not gonna just add more trouble to the mix in itself, because if you're like this and then you're going and you're doing all this kind of movement, you're really making our life difficult, because then we have to compensate for the proximity effect, or how it's just so if they know how to record themselves and have good technique, it helps a lot.
It helps a lot.
And I'll always advise for it.
So how can you differentiate a track from something like that song is gonna last for a lot of years and it still is gonna sound fresh, than from a track that you think it sounds fast food music? It sounds just TikTok. It's gonna last for 1-2 weeks on mainstream.
For me, it's I think it's two things: the feeling and the sonics. I'll probably put sonics first and then feeling. So I'll explain. I think sonics, you can tell when a sound is just too generic.
Okay.
It's just like you just grabbed something from the stock sounds and just added it, right? But when you hear a sound that's like, how did they do that? How did they make that sound? Then it makes it more special, in my opinion, than just any sound, So I look at that first, and obviously as a whole, not just one sound, but as a whole, that it has this sort of, this is fresh, but it's not fresh as like you said, like TikTok or fast food music. It has just its own identity, and and you can group these things as well, because you hear a lot of music that's just the same, I don't know, 808 for example, same. But even in 808 as well, it's like there are 808s that have a character to it, and it's like, oh, there was some sound designing, good sound design gone behind that. So I think, again, I'm just talking about just one sound, but as a whole, that's when you think, wow, like there is so many things going on that's not overwhelming, but it's so easy to and it's so palatable, you know, it's so easy, it's so smooth, yet it's so unique. I think that for me, that's one of the signs of a long-lasting song than just a quick, just like a quick beat and talking about the same thing. Again, songwriting as well. That's another part of the sonics as well that I think that goes into it, that I think will last longer. And then feeling as well, the feeling. There's I would say, I don't know if it's a mysterious thing, but you know, you can transmit that energy into the mic, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True,
So when I feel that, I'm like, this is a special song, you know what I mean? And this will last longer than these fast food. But it's the feeling, and that could be subjective as well, because you know, it could be my preference. And but I think on a sort of like neutral plane, the emotions that you can transmit through those speakers and then, you know, that mic, and you can feel that. You know what I mean? You know, when you don't get that feeling from songs, that's when I can tell it's just like, oh, that's quite generic. It doesn't, like, it's a love song, but it's like, it didn't hit me right, because it just didn't have that expression in you know, in vocals, you know, and then the production itself, it just didn't have nothing that grabbed me, you know.
Because, like, for example, if we put an example, let's say back in the 2005, around that area of Daddy Yankee.
Okay.
So if you think about it, let's say they didn't have much access to like proper studio recordings or plugins, high-end plugins, and all that stuff, but somehow they still communicate. You can feel the neighborhood, the street, the kind of gang style, the disco, the flirting with girls, all that stuff. You can somehow, it's not because of only the lyrics, but like the way they transmit that is like it's
an energy thing, and I think it's that capturing the energy is the important thing, and that's what makes a song special. Then just, let's just make this because this is what's trending. Do you know what I mean? Because then you're just sort of like trying to match something that, you know, it's not really coming out of you, but there's a difference in that, a big difference, I think. You know, when you just, all right, what's trending now? I don't know, drill. Okay, let's make some drill, but really and truly, you don't really live that drill life, for example. Do you know what I mean? So, but if you do live it, you are going to express it in a way because it's coming from your experiences, right? Or it's coming, but if you just, I don't know, just adding it just doing it because it's what's trending, that it feels fast food. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, so yeah, I think the artist being that person that they're trying to project in the song helps a lot in transferring that energy into a song, and I think that makes it a bit more long-lasting. Than
have you ever had to encounter a situation of friction in the studio where you've had to manage their professionalism rather than your personal preferences, like that kind of friction, like, you know, the artist's bad attitude, or I don't know?
Yeah, most of the times, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it ties up to what I was saying earlier, that you have to be a people's person, where you have to manage everyone's personality and just blend in, right? So I think always musically, when it comes to like coming to a compromise, I guess, I'm never afraid to make my own suggestions. Obviously, I mean, being a producer, I'm always going to be like, oh, this, and try to make them see that you know, that vision that I'm seeing. If it's not something that aligns with them, then okay, we'll find another one, and we'll come to a middle ground, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what we are collaborating, right, together. We don't want it to just be one-sided. Do you know what I mean? Like if you are my client, for example, I want you to be happy with, because it's what you had in mind as well, right? Mm-hmm. And me, I also want to make sure that I'm bringing some of my stuff in it, right? So we're creating something new. So when it comes to that, I would say I'm quite good at managing those frictions and just finding a common ground, basically.
Okay, so you never had that situation where it's like the artists they just leave the studio, or like when were they coming in drunk or drugs and stuff like that? I don't know.
No, luckily not to that stage. No. Where I'm at. I think probably the worst maybe was just lateness. I think it's the only time that I had to sort of, you know, step in a bit and manage, just because obviously it's my time as well, and then, you know, them getting to it whatever time they want when we had a session set at this time, it really eats up into my time, and they think that they can just use extra time when I've got other people coming.
Okay.
So I think that's the only. But apart from that, you know, people walking out, getting really aggressive and that, luckily I've not had that. But again, I think that also goes to how I manage the sessions, how I manage the people, really. You know, I always try to create this comfortable environment where we don't have to get to that, you know, and it's just more, you know, we're focusing on music and we exchanging ideas, and, you know, it's not going to get to a point where it's like, you know, it's.
Have you ever had the chance to work with a record label, or?
Not as of now, actually, no.
No, you've always been.
It's always been my independent work.
Independent work. Okay. What do you think about record labels? Do you think it's a viable option, or?
Yeah, definitely. I think record labels still play a big part in the music industry. You know, they've been established for so long. They already have a system in place to get, you know, artists out there. That's not to say that artists can't do it independently, but I think it's still a viable option as long as the artist is aware that they need to do some of their work prior to that. So, you know, the artist should focus on creating their own platform, you know, creating their own audience, so that they have leverage, and then they can negotiate with a label and not being submissive to just what they want out of you, but you have some sort of leverage where you can negotiate good terms, right, in their contracts, so that they can still be themselves as artists. I think that's very important.
Okay.
And still deliver obviously a good music to the world. So yeah, definitely it's still a viable option, as long as they work themselves to that point where they can, you know.
So, taking in account all your experiences and learning from your journey as a producer, how do you recommend to new producers to start? Like, Like, let's say if I would have known this from the start, I wouldn't have wasted my time. I would have done this, I would have done that. Like, what recommendations do you give them to start, like, to produce this?
One of the main things is theory, I think.
Okay.
Music theory. Even in its basic terms. Stuff like learning your scales. I think for me, that was one of the boosters. Because when I started music production, I was sort of more guessing in a way, like, guessing just by ear. But once this guy, he showed me the formula of a major scale, for example, and then a minor scale. And I was like, yeah, if you do that, you're always going to be in scale, And I'm like, okay, cool. As soon as I learned that, it just like expanded my options in production so much. So if for someone that's starting, definitely invest some time in learning this basic music theory. It will help, it will help along.
Massively,
yeah.
Okay, so now let's jump into the section 3 and final part of the interview. And this is more about the personal life, business and portfolio. So the first question about that is, what has been the most difficult situation in your life, and what learning outcome do you get from it? Do you apply it to your motivations or personal or current life?
Finding time, man, I think.
Okay.
I think that's it's even to this day, it's so hard to be doing music and managing family. I'm a father of 2.
Okay.
Obviously I live with my partner, and it's I also work aside of music. I have a full-time job as well. So I think for that, that's probably one of my most difficult in the music, most difficult situations, to be able to manage all that time at once and still produce.
Still produce. So hard, man. Like.
Yeah, it's difficult.
So what was the biggest dream that you have today for the future, and anytime soon, or that you want to achieve, like you committing to achieve? Like, what's the biggest dream that you have?
I think breaking one of the artists, local Latin artists here, globally, like being able to, create obviously a unique sound for a local artist here, Latin, and to the whole world. I think that would be that's probably one of my massive dreams.
But do you see it like soon, or do you think it's gonna take some years, or?
It's hard to tell, man, because with music, it's today I could create probably the biggest hit. Who knows, and then things happen. You could go viral, and then that's I don't know. I suppose it's sort of like a lottery thing in a way. But I mean, I never stopped doing music anyway. It's I don't think I do it just with that intention of being. I just do it because I love the process of it. Creating a song, sharing ideas with people, and just making something new. And we're like, right, we did that, So that's always been my mindset, really, from the very first time I started creating music. Just the process of making it, making music. But that would be a big dream for me, man. Being able to, because as we discussed earlier at the beginning of the interview, that it's been such a long time here in London. This movement has been growing and growing and growing. that finally having a breakthrough from one of the local artists, it's like, oh wow, you see, we tried, we were consistent, persistent, and boom, we got it, you know. So
the other day when I was in this kind of live on Instagram with Saco El Cotorra, someone mentioned, I think it was Anna, one of the artists as well in the UK. She's from Honduras. She mentioned that that we need more people that represent us, but in terms of like business, like that there is not much business people. It's more like everyone just wants to make music, and producers want to produce music, and but there is not many business people that actually represent us out there to like to the big.
Definitely, I agree with that. Yeah, we need pillars, and everyone to focus on their profession. You know, on what you do best. Basically, what I'm saying. You know, if you're a producer, focus on producing the best music with these artists. You know, and building a network of people that focuses on their best skill, right? So if you know, if we've got the, you know, people that plug us to radios, for example, then let them be that. You know what I mean? And but I think people are too afraid. Even if there was that, right now I think people are still a bit afraid of trusting these other people to do that job. So they're like, oh, I'll just do it myself. You know, I'll do it all myself. So I think we need to just trust each other here, and knowing that everyone has a strength or a skill that they can bring to the table and do. So I'll give a recent example, like the what's the guys that signed with Warner?
Angelo, yeah.
But was it Luch?
Yeah, for Candela Records.
Candela Records, yeah. That's what I'm looking for. So like these kind of connections, you know, like these, they focus on the business side of that. So you know, let them be that, and let them be the best versions of that, you know. You focus on the artistry, focus on bettering yourself as, and not try to, you know, do everything at once. Like, you know, it's not very efficient, you know. So I think I do agree with that statement. We do need a lot more business people, you know, people that either connect us to labels, connect us to radios, connect us to, you know, media outlets, you know, stuff like that, to be able to create an industry for ourselves here, right? In London or in the UK.
So, when you said that, obviously, what comes to my mind is like, so the industry needs to grow in a way that, as you say, everyone's got like their own role, their own place. But obviously there is this thing about also like live performances in local community. It's like not many artists are currently like worrying about how do I look on stage? Should I just rehearse more for my live performances? Should I get my own mics? Should I get my own in-ears? Or I don't know, that kind of stuff. Like, what's your opinion in terms of like the live sound experience in the local community? When
I think, I mean, from experience, I have seen a lot of, there's not much attention given to that.
Okay. So
when the public hears it, it sounds like crap. And you know, you have to give them an experience as well, right? So you need to bear this in mind. So it's like, how do I get the best sound, or so that they can pleasantly hear what my music, right? And not just, you know, squeaky mics or so I think definitely, man, if you're an artist and you're still finding your way and you're performing locally, like investing in these little things to make sure that people hear you properly, and you have to think of it from the consumer's point of view, you know. And if they're able to hear something that's pleasant, then you're already in a better position, right? So, yeah, I think, is that what you was asking?
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
worth
No,
investing in
obviously.
this?
So what have been the mountains along the way when taking this decision of betting like to the music? Is like the hardest parts of your life where it's like I'm gonna make music, the mountains that you have to climb?
I think apart from the technical side of music, like making music and that, for me it's been learning the business, how to navigate yourself through it, and to get your music out there. Because as we know, creating the music is just one thing, but getting it out there, that's the other thing. And it's not just about uploading it to all the social social platforms, or it's really finding ways to stand out from the public, and learning marketing, learning all these other things that you need to implement in order to have a bigger reach to people. So I think that's been probably one of the mountains, learning that side. And because as creatives, we don't really like that side.
No.
we just want to focus on being
music,
creative,
yeah.
but you have to learn that side to be able to even provide guidance to newer artists, and look, you can try this, you can try that, and, yeah.
So how has been the process of your studio build? Can you talk about investments and finding an appropriate place? Because I know you've been in through a lot of process. As you mentioned, you were 14 years old with the first studio to like the studio you have now.
Yeah.
Obviously the process, how has it been?
The process been it's been enjoyable. I'm lucky enough, fortunate enough to have a dad that's very kind of a handyman.
Okay.
And he likes building stuff. So
okay.
It was basically me and him, getting our hands dirty and building the studio from scratch, really. Building panels, building stuff, and he was really a good help for me to create acoustically, to create something that's good enough for me to work on my music. So that was one part. And finding spaces, there's a lot of complexes that offer these empty rooms where you can install all your equipment. And in the longer run, I've been accumulating my equipment over time. Investing in good preamps and good sound cards and stuff over the years. That now I have a good setup that can compete professionally.
Okay, but do you think it's like a long time kind of saving process?
Yeah.
Of what do you recommend to other people as well? Because some people think I need to spend 500 right now, 1,000 on this. It's how do you recommend them? Because obviously. You need to do the best with what you have, I guess. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think as you learn more, and as your ear develops more, that's when the requirements of new equipment comes into place. So I would recommend definitely start at the level that you're currently at in terms of production knowledge, right? So. Yeah, don't waste your time. Don't waste your money on something that's you're not really going to use. It's happened to me. It happened to me before as well. But I'll buy something that was okay, well, that was a waste of money after a while, because I didn't really use it. It was just because it looked cool and that. So really take the time to learn what you need first, and then get good at that, and then start escalating from there. And do small investments like that. Eventually you will have a much better setup.
Better setup
Yeah.
than everybody else. Okay. So yeah, just getting to the last questions is I was researching about the Amity Music Entertainment. Can you talk a little bit about it? Because I think because you got some names that are linked to you. So Amity Music, then Lapse File, and Philo Records.
Yeah. Okay.
So can you explain on that?
So the first one was actually Philo Records. That's when me and my boy Olimac, we had the rap duo, right? So JayP and Olimac, and we felt like we needed to separate ourselves in terms of like a sort of label kind of thing. So we called Philo Records. That was like the first record label idea that we had. From then, our vision there was to, once we were establish ourselves a bit more in the community, maybe start getting people into that, under that name basically. So, you know, with time, we'll grow and it will become a bit more established, right? So Philo Records, that was the idea. Philo, as you know, in Spanish is like edge, so like sharp. You know, so we're basically saying that we were at the cutting edge then Amity Music, that came about because we then started connecting with other producers in the community. Luigi Sanchez was one of them, and we formed this trio of, you know, 2 producers, and we had obviously Olimac and myself as the rappers, and we thought, well, okay, well, let's join together and make this sort of trinity. So Amity Music, that's when Amity Music was born. Again, Amity was it means sort of like friendship kind of thing. So we had a vision of like having the same thing as Philo Records, but just with an extra member, basically. So we sort of rebranded in a way and named it Amity Music Entertainment. And then Lab Files actually, interestingly, when JayP and Olimac, when we were doing our thing, there was a session we used to do every Wednesday from 8 to 9 on YouTube. 3 hours basically, a 3-hour session, where we will start a song from scratch and just do it, record it, document it, and whatever we can do in those 3 hours, that's what the song will be. You know, so it was like a little challenge for us, and a bit of content that we wanted to show on YouTube. So that's what Lab Files was. And then I actually brought that back and named my studio Lab Files. So my current studio is now called Lab Files.
Lab Files.
Yeah, but it comes from that time.
Okay.
So yeah, Lab Files. I've always liked the idea of the lab, sort of like that's where we, because I'm always experimenting and that, so it's like, okay, that's the laboratory where we, so Lab Files, so yeah.
So at the moment you're just running, let's say, your own business as a producer and sound engineer, you know. Yeah. But at the moment, like, you left that on the side about like the record label thing.
I later realized that, you know, for me to run a record label is a whole different ball game. You know, it's not just a name as I used to think before. So it requires a lot more of that business side that we were talking about, and managing artists and like finding the way to put them in the right spots, I guess. So I sort of dropped that idea of a record label. You need to have the money as well to fund it and to fund these artists, and so I was like, okay, I'm not at that level yet. So I was like, record label, no. I'm not there yet, you know. First I need to, you know, build myself as a producer and create my own platform to a level that, okay, now I can maybe fund these artists, these new artists, and invest in them, and that's where, you know, what a record label does.
Okay. No, just I was and the last question is about the 100 to 100 song, because that's like that's the actual track that I first saw in the when I got to the UK. That was like a big collaboration that you did. That was back. It was a Amity Music thing, right? That
What are you
song.
talking about? 100%?
100%,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So so what happened? Like, was that song was meant to be something like to show the collab of Latin talent?
Exactly,
or?
yeah. So the vision with that song, the statement we were trying to create was that this, in that time, these were like the what do you call it? Like the relevant artists, local artists that were constantly bringing music out, and we thought, well, everyone's doing their own thing. Why don't we come together and show people that, look, we're not divided. We can come together and make something big, and which we accomplished to a certain level. So Guerrero, he was the one that brought this idea to all of us. He got us all in a group and like, guys, we should do this together. And Guerrero had already built some connections with producers back in Latin America, and this beat was actually sent by Ozuna's producer back in that time, and he was it Bless the producer or something like this, and he sent him that beat, and then I added my stuff to that beat as well. So in a way, it was a collaboration. And then we got working and we did that, and the song did pretty well in that time. I don't think anyone during that time had done anything like that. Got everyone together and show the community that, look, we're not divided. We're together and we can do something big.
So you had a chance already to work like with some people that are already known in the industry.
In some way, yes, because during that time, I would say that's probably one of the collaborations I did with a big producer back then, and Ando y Mello as well. He was working alongside with Genialista. They had a song together as well, which I also recorded. There was some of Ozuna's song as well. But before Ozuna was so big, but he was sort of like just getting there. They had some songs together. So I also recorded a few of them as well. But I recorded it here, right? And obviously send the vocals back there. So yeah, there was some, in some way, a collaboration with these guys.
So you definitely believe that, obviously, that now they put in an eye on the UK.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think from back in those days, they are aware that there's something going on here in the UK. And as we've seen recently, we had artists like Valle coming over to the UK, spending time here, and working with UK artists, and so it's sort of like UK artists are also finding out that there's a movement here, and they are sooner or later there can be fusions between them, and we can establish ourselves in a way that they recognize this genre that we have here in the UK. Possibly players in the radio as well.
Yeah, because there is this discussion about like if Latin artists should keep the Spanglish kind of thing as the new kind of identity for that Latin music in the UK. So do you think that they should keep going on that Spanglish or sing entirely in English, or I don't know, like to actually to blend?
I think so. I think that they should still do the Spanglish. Maybe not too Spanish, if that makes sense, but have the word here and there that English people can also pronounce and say, in it easily. So,
Sorry.
Yeah, I think just kind of like that they do in the US, right? They have some of that Spanish. I know there's a bigger, obviously, population there, Latin population there, but even so, there's still like when they do the Spanish, it's not fully Spanish. They just have a few words here and there, but it's a good way to bring them into our culture and our sound. So yeah, I think we're heading in the right direction, man, to position ourselves in the charts here or anything like that. So yeah.
Okay. No, I think that's pretty much it, bro. Like,
Yeah. Nice.
it was a long conversation,
Yeah,
but it's interesting.
Excuse me. No, that was good, man. Really enjoyed that. Thank you for having me, man.
No. Thank you for coming in, and I think a lot of people when they watch this, they probably learn something.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. I hope so. I think it's important to just share, just like you said, like your methodology and how you approach different. We all do it differently, but that's how I kind of learned as well. Like just listening to interviews from other producers and seeing how they manage these situations and how. So yeah, it's definitely a good way to
show. Yeah. No. Thank you, bro, for coming.
All right,
in.
man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's work on some music.
All right.
La estamos haciendo, subimos, te está doliendo. Todo lo que tú sueñas lo estoy viviendo. La mala que tira ya no la siento y yo lo siento. Desde los tiempos de antes yo ando en lo mío y siempre he progresado aunque hayan mil líos. Muchos se han virado sin ningún motivo, por eso yo sigo parado en la línea.